Free to Be Who I Be, Metallica, Master of Puppets Remastered, Ramblin On review. Okay, so recently I bought the 3 CD edition of the Metallica Master of Puppets Remaster edition. There is of course the huge deluxe edition, which I'd love to get. I believe it comes with vinyl. I think it even has a cassette in there, plus it has like 14 CDs of live shows, demos, interviews, DVDs, all the rest of it. It looks absolutely amazing. But I got the 3 CD edition, and it's a decent set. The first disc is the remaster of the classic album, which we all know about. The second disc is full of demos and early workings of some songs that would go on to be on the Garage Days Revisited EP. And then you've got the third disc, which is packed full of live material. Master of Puppets itself, disc 1. Didn't notice a huge amount of difference with the actual remaster, or should I say I didn't notice any really notable differences, but it sounds great. The album, of course, a classic. The overriding theme on the album is manipulation by others, by outside forces. The opening track, Battery, I think it was about Battery Street. I think it was the street that a lot of the old guard, the sort of Bay Area thrashers of the time, used to hang out on, party on, and so I think it's an ode to the thrash scene that spawned them. Just keep on going till the battery's gone. Master of Puppets, of course, deals with drug addiction and features the infamous line, "Chop your breakfast on a mirror." I believe a friend of theirs stayed over at their apartment, and where they woke up one morning and he was chopping out cocaine on a mirror, which inspired the line. And the song being controlled by addiction. Interestingly enough as well, this was years before James come to terms with his own addiction, and possibly before he ever even acknowledged he had a problem. So yeah, great song. Next up, Thing That Should Not Be, Spooky, based on the Cthulhu Mythos by H.P. Lovecraft. This was, I know that Cliff Burton was a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan, and I think he was the guy who inspired James to get into his writing as well, which then inspired the songs. Cliff Burton, it has to be said, is all over this album. His personality is all over it. His playing can be heard in many of the songs. His classical composing is all a part of it. Changed Metallica's sound dramatically. But also it's just his personality, how much he inspired the rest of the guys. He really was a unique, talented genius who will be sadly missed. Rest in peace, Cliff Burton. Next up, Welcome Home Sanitarium. I think this was based on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Being imprisoned in a mental asylum, not being able to get out, trapped, unable to get help. Very claustrophobic lyrics, reminiscent of Fade to Black in many ways. Not so much in content matter, but in style. Again, starts out with the clean opening before going into the heavy parts of the song. Noises in the fog. Next up, Disposable Heroes. This is about barking generals. This is Metallica's War Pigs. The politicians who send young people into war as cannon fodder, basically, for their country. And yeah, I don't want to go into that one too much. But yeah, this is Metallica's War Pigs. Just another song dealing with manipulation from others. You alright, mate? Leper Messiah. Now, James was brought up here as a Christian Scientist, I think he was. I know his mum passed away sadly. Was it cancer? But anyway, she had an illness and basically refused any treatment because of her religious beliefs, and I'm sure that played a part in this song. I think it's actually about evangelists back in the 1980s when this was written, and still now you have a lot of the TV evangelists who preach the Lord, and that's fine if you want to believe that, but there are definitely some manipulating people in that demographic, and that is totally what this song is dealing with. Now we come to track 7. Not only is this one of my favourite Metallica songs, this is one of my favourite songs, period. Orion. Instrumental, penned mainly by Cliff Burton, or at least the back half of it anyway. Opens up with Cliff Burton's bass and features prominently throughout the song. Has a couple of his own solos in there, and of course that infamous clean bass line that kicks in about halfway through the song before going into the harmony section. Just, I never get sick of listening to this song. Such a great song. Moves me every time. I'm not always in the mood for Metallica, but I can always listen to this song. Absolutely fantastic. The Woods of Atmosphere. And the closing track, of course, is Damage Incorporated. A full-on thrash assault. A full-on thrasher. This bookends the album perfectly along with the opener Battery. Just a full-on thrash song. Enough said. No more need be said. Absolutely fantastic song. Snow. So that was disc 1. That was Master of Puppets itself. I'm going to end the episode there, but join me back. Come back in a couple of days where I'm going to put up part 2, which deals with the other 2 discs, being the demos and the live songs, and I'll give you a bit of a rundown on those for the rest of the album. Also, the last couple of weeks of the year, so Christmas week and going into New Year's, come back to the channel because I'm going to be doing a rundown of my top albums of the year. I'm going to do 5 individual episodes dealing with my top 5 albums, and I'm also going to have an honourable mentions episode dealing with all of the others. So make sure you come back for that. I'm sure a lot of it won't be any releases that particularly surprise anyone. There's definitely been some standout albums this year. As I only started doing this recently, there's a lot of albums from earlier on in the year that I never got a chance to review, and they're definitely worth mentioning, and it gives me something to film. So yes, come back in a few days. We'll have part 2 for Metallica, dealing with disc 2 and disc 3, the demos and the live songs, and yeah, come back then, like I say. Scintillating, fascinating, boring. See you next time.